Your pitch emails are likely getting ignored for one core psychological reason that if you don't address, will keep you continuing to get stuck in that spam inbox or the do not reply box, which obviously is not what we want. So in this video, I'm going to expose what that one psychological fallacy actually is, as well as the 5 symptoms it produces, and most importantly, how you can fix it for yourself to start getting more positive responses and brand deals. So back when I was first getting started in this industry, before I worked with Four Seasons or Royal Caribbean or all these other companies, I was actually a broke, young photographer who bought this ebook for $37 that promised to teach me how to land travel deals. So one of the main selling points of this book was actually that it was going to give me the exact script to be able to send to brands that they would want to respond to. So being that I had sent a bunch of emails before, didn't really have any positive replies, I was like, well, maybe the $37 is worth it. So I invested the $37. I copied and pasted that exact script into my new outreach emails, and guess what? Nothing. Well, actually, I did get an offer for a free collab, so yeah. So the lesson from this story was not that the book sucked or the script sucked. Like, yes, they weren't that good, but I realized that I was approaching this whole outreach thing from the complete wrong angle. In fact, I realized I had this mindset that as long as I sent the magic words to a brand, then they're going to respond to me. And that's what I thought the book would help me do. But in reality, I was dead wrong, because landing brand deals from cold email campaigns is less about what you say and more about what you offer. So I really had to transition my entire mindset from basically what magic words could I use to convince a brand to pay me to what can I offer that's so valuable to a brand that they would feel dumb trashing my email. So literally, that's the psychological hack, and it's why I don't believe in scripts, because number one, so many people use the same script, so it fatigues really soon. But secondly, most scripts that you'll find on the internet or even in these ebooks are geared mostly towards the creator's interest, and they don't mention the brand hardly at all. I mean, you've probably seen it yourself. The typical outreach email that most creators send and stuff that you see floating around on Instagram Reels, it's talking about who you are, what you do, what your experience is, when you want to show up, what you want to shoot for the brand, what the deliverables are, how much you charge. It's all about you, and it's not about the brand. So the psychological hack is just pretend you're a marketing manager for the brand you're trying to reach out to, and you're getting 1,000 emails a day. What is the email that you would see that number one, you would want to open, and number two, you would actually want to respond to instead of just throwing it in the trash? So the goal here is to increase the intrigue and reduce the amount of friction involved in experiencing both you and your service. So now that we know the psychological hack, let's talk about the 5 outreach mistakes that most creators are making right now that are preventing them from getting responses and by extension, paid brand deals. So the first one is just that you're not pitching anything of value. And I know we kind of touched on this before, that the email's all about you. It's about when you're in town, what your deliverables are, what you charge, all that kind of stuff, right? But if we take it just a step further, maybe what you're pitching isn't actually valuable to the brand. And listen, I get it. I know it hurts the ego. Everyone wants to say that their work is the best and is of value and all this kind of stuff, but hear me out. Pictures can actually have different values depending on the context that they're used, right? So like, say I take a picture of some shoes and I post it on my social media. Is that valuable? Maybe a little bit, not too much, right? But say I take that same exact picture, same framing, colors, everything, right? And I pitch it to Nike and they use it on a billboard. Now all of a sudden that same exact picture is worth tens of thousands of dollars, both to me, but also to the company. Actually, it's probably worth millions of dollars to the company. So now let's just bring this concept home and apply it to our pitch. Are you actually pitching the most valuable thing? And the way you figure that out is you just ask yourself, what problem am I actually solving by pitching what I'm pitching? And by extension, is this the most important or the biggest problem I can actually solve for this brand? And if that's the case, then you're well on your way to actually pitching something valuable. But if you're coming in and you're just like, hey, I can shoot 20 photos for you, guess what? I'm sorry to break it to you, but that's not that valuable. The second mistake that so many creators make is that they start pitching way too soon. No one likes to get pitched, especially by a stranger. I mean, think about it. You get a call from an unknown number. It's probably a telemarketer. Are you going to answer the phone? No, you're either going to let it ring or you're going to block the number. So what makes you think that if you come in pitching that somebody is not going to do the same to you? So the problem is most creators come in hot trying to pitch right off the bat without actually creating a relationship first. So how do we create a relationship? Just like any other relationship that you have in life. They're a person, you're a person. So you create that connection by creating a genuine interest in both them as maybe even a person or the company itself, right? You point out the inefficiency that you see. You say, hey, I've solved this problem for people in the past before. This is how it's worked. Would you be open to helping me solve it for you as well? So we're not talking deliverables. We're not talking rates. We're not talking media kits. We're not doing any of that stuff. We're not sending custom proposals. All we're doing is saying, hey, I noticed this problem that you guys might be facing. You may or may not be aware of it, but I actually specialize in helping my clients solve that. Would you be open to hearing how I can do that for you? And that brings me to the third most common mistake that creators make in their pitches, which is just pitching everything in one go. So do you remember that psychological hack I talked about before where we want to increase the intrigue but reduce the friction? Well, when we share everything in one go, that is literally the opposite of doing what we want to do. So number one, you reduce the intrigue because you just shared everything. They don't have any questions and they don't have any reason to actually reach out to you. And you increase the friction because you haven't actually shifted any beliefs in the client, but you're asking for a sale right off the bat. Plus you're asking them to go through a proposal right off the bat, which, I mean, if you're getting 1,000 emails a day, you are not going to want to go through some random proposal from a cold stranger. So you're reducing the intrigue, you're increasing the friction, and that is not what we want to do. So we got to flip it. So we want to increase the intrigue by offering a case study of a client that's been in a similar position to them and the results we've gotten them. If you don't know how to get a case study, I actually just did a video about it, so you can check that out. We want to reduce that friction by using a direct to value call to action, something super simple to respond to. Like, if you want to learn more about this, just reply yes, or just reply I'm interested. So all they have to do is type in 1 or 2 words and they're good to go to show that they've raised their hand, that they're actually interested in your service. The fourth biggest mistake that I see creators do all the time is that they just don't pitch the right thing. So you can say all the right words, but if you aren't pitching the right thing, then it really doesn't matter. I mean, think about it. I could have the best restaurant in the entire town, the best marketing, the best flyers. I could even give you free samples, but if you're not hungry, I'm probably not going to be able to sell you on coming to my restaurant. But if you were hungry and I just told you I had food, you wouldn't care about my marketing, about my accolades. You wouldn't care about any of that stuff. You would just run to my restaurant because you are starving and you need to eat something. So it's the same concept with brand shoots, right? If we're pitching food to somebody who's not hungry, of course they're not going to buy, right? And that's literally why I work with my clients on their offer and their brand bridge above everything else, because it's literally the most important factor in your entire sales process. I mean, it's literally the difference between you pitching, hey, I can shoot you 20 photos versus saying, hey, I want to create a strategy around your recent renovation where we create the strategy, the content, and we even implement the delivery of it. So you don't have to worry about all that stuff. And oh, by the way, we've done this for clients before in the past. Here's their results. Would you be opposed to getting similar to results that they have gotten? I mean, seriously, given the option of this versus this, you're going to pick this one every single time. And that's what I help my creators implement because it's that important. Which brings me to the fifth and final mistake that most creators make when doing their outreach, which is just that they don't have enough volume. So volume negates luck, and most creators don't have nearly enough volume. I mean, seriously, you'd probably be shocked by the amount of exposure you have to generate for yourself just to get a deal. And most creators are sending out like 10 emails a month and wondering why they can't land a deal. Well, you're literally giving yourself 10 chances a month to land a deal, which if we use the average positive reply rate of like 3 to 5%, that means it's virtually a 0% chance of landing a deal. It makes literally no sense. So you really have to be constantly generating that exposure for yourself. But if you don't have a repeatable system, it becomes extremely manual and difficult for you. So offer, which we talked about in the last one, and volume are literally the biggest 2 bottlenecks that most creators have that are preventing them from scaling their business and working with the clients they actually want to work with. They don't have something to sell that the client would literally renegotiate their yearly budget to be able to afford, and they just don't send out enough messages to even get in front of the people they need to get in front of, right? Offer and volume. And that's really what I help my creator clients do, is implement a system that includes all of those things we talked about before, and we do it at scale so that they can hit the right client at the right time with the right message, and it doesn't have to be super manual, so they can actually focus on the things that are fun in their business, things like actually doing the shoot. So if that sounds like you and you're stuck with either low response rates or cheap clients, then that's a problem, right? So you have to increase your intrigue, you have to reduce your friction, you have to increase your volume, and you have to make an offer so irresistible that people will literally renegotiate their budget to hire you. And when you do all these things at scale, it makes it virtually impossible for you to not book 2 to 3 new clients every single month. So if you want me to implement this exact system into your business, then check the link in the description below. Book in a call with a member of my team. It's actually a free game plan call where he'll walk you through our entire process and how we can customize it to your business so we can start getting you new clients coming in as soon as next month. And most importantly, to see if we'd be a good fit to work together, because I believe in getting results for my clients, so I can't work with everybody. But if that's not you, totally fine. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you like this video, give it a massive like. And if you think this would be helpful, share it out to your content creator friends. I'm sure they would love you for it. I'd love you for it as well, because it grows the channel. And you know, we're putting out videos every single week. That's the stuff that no one talks about. So if you like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.